This is a long time incoming. I'm going to start playing the Plus content now, and I'm going to name this Part One because when I uploaded the previous part, I decided to name it Part Zero just because it was preliminary footage that wasn't what I was primarily going for with this series. Because I'm too old to be doing a Let's Play of the main game of Doki Doki Literature Club. So to wrap up some stuff from that part zero, though, I did check and see if using some of I guess MatPat's old footage, if what I thought that may have been new for the plus in the main game was actually new, and it turns out that the only thing that I found that so far that was new in Plus compared to the original freeware game was the fake blue screen. So when Monica tries to present a quote unquote poem that's actually her escape plan and it fails, in the original there is a static back screen. In the Plus content, they give you an imitation blue screen. Have a nice weekend is not a line Monica says. She does indeed say Yuri is really something in the original. I just got the dialogue mixed up with the file that appears in the file system called Have a Nice Weekend. Let's see, is that. Oh, I misspelled Dracul. I spelled it with an E at the end. If you play without recording, you don't get any bonus codes or anything. It just doesn't give you the dialogue where Monica notices you're recording and does not perform something. And the game will read your local user account name, not, or maybe it's your Microsoft account if you're on some sort of Microsoft account. I always do everything I do on local. It does not read your Steam name. So it would have actually read, it actually reads my first name if I do it without recording. So I'm glad I wasn't getting around that, because that would have revealed my first name on recording, which is something I do not like to do. This is not this information is not going to age well. It's not going to make a lot of sense if you're watching this years after it's posted. But if you're the people who are watching this like right as it's posted, and most YouTubers don't talk about this publicly or on recording. Part zero, as I called it, did get some alphabet soup copyright claims for Your Reality. As much as I understand about Team Salvato, they are not collecting royalties on Your Reality, even though they composed it. I'm about 99% sure of that, but I'm like waiting, I guess, for some information on whether or not that's actually true. And if it turns out they're not collecting royalties, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a dispute. But what happens is when you do that is usually the copyright societies just do nothing. They don't have any people to really deal with disputes. So or the collection societies. So they just kind of let them expire and they kind of exist for 30 days as the collection society might collect a few cents on the video. And so that if the video is private, if you see part zero be private, in some period of time after this is posted, that's because you see this weird playlist where the first one's private. It's because I'm trying to keep it unwatchable until that 30 days expires. Usually, like, it's a problem with these real-time Let's Plays where I just record and post, record and post, record and post, and record things a long time beforehand. It's because you can't do the usual 30-day buffer, which you would advise most YouTubers to do on their videos, where you make sure that you have 30 days before you make it public so that you can get rid of that alphabet soup copyright stuff before you make it public. So the alphabet soup alphabet soup people do not get revenue off the video that they don't have the rights to anything in it. Anyway, but if it's down Salvato's, then yes, you can get the money. It's his stuff. Anyway, on to the actual game. I will show what happened what new things appeared in the file system, this Fox file system, when I played through a third time in order to check and put into the description what Monica does if you do not record. So we have a couple extra special poems. One of them is the one with the dot. This is not it. Here we go. A dream. I was staying over at my friend's place. There were four of us. I drifted off to sleep while everyone was talking and watching TV. In my dream, I was still at my friend's house. The only difference was that there were nails sticking out of the walls everywhere. And there was also someone I didn't recognize. The person I didn't recognize told a joke, and everyone laughed. I woke up to the sound of everyone laughing at something that happened on the TV. So laughing was not part of the dream, it was the noise that woke me up. I wonder who that person was, and how they knew to tell a joke at that moment. Isn't there one where it's like the dot? Hmm. There's one that I saw during the gameplay. It seems to be missing here, where it's just like, look carefully at this dot to find out a secret or something. Of course, it was a prank, but I don't see it in this archive. I wonder if that's a glitch. Okay, so what am I looking for in this plus content? Well, the original Doki Doki has a lot of breaking the fourth wall and foreshadowing and glitchiness effects and horror imagery, so-called. You would think that you would hope that this plus content, these extra scenes, would have similarly thrilly elements to them. That being said, I doubt it's actually going to happen, but I'm hoping for something like that. There's some art assets that were not in the main game. There's 8 of them. So those I would presume would show up in the plus content, which is fewer than the main game, even though there's like 6 plus content threads. And there's also some backgrounds that are missing. Yeah, there's 3 backgrounds, which is fewer backgrounds than those of the main game. So we're going to see those. Now, when I did part 0, I did this little spiel about various similarities between Doki Doki Literature Club and Never 7, The End of Infinity. This is about a spoiler I encountered. And those similarities were, say, it was, a dating sim-like visual novel where you make choices that determine which girl you're kind of going with, and these girls follow similar archetypes. They have there's like girls that are analogous to each other, 4 of such. Go through the game twice over. There's suicide in the game. You have a protagonist that you never see his eyes. He just has black spiky hair, and you see him from the back of his head. Or in Never 7, they sometimes depict him from the front or the side, but they never show his eyes. The main character is either a literature student in college or joining the literature club. And there's another one that I noticed going through there before that I've since forgotten about. Anyway, while looking at MatPat's footage to try to figure out if, without having to download the whole freeware version and click through it all over again, what, if anything, was new in the original game in Plus, I on the right side where there were suggested videos, I saw a title to one of his videos on this, which of course I haven't watched any of yet because I want to react to this myself for the first time seeing it. And one of the titles mentioned, although I bounced my eyes off of it as soon as I saw this phrase, I still saw it, an infinite loop. Well, as someone who's played Never 7, and recorded a Let's Play of it that I have not posted yet and won't post for probably 30 days, that is kind of big spoilers, actually, Because if this game has a tendency to imitate Never 7, well, I kind of know how it would imitate Never 7 that would cause someone like MatPat to put a spoiler in their title that said an infinite loop. So one of these is probably going to be a Never 7, an Infinity series like infinite loop plot. I've been spoiled. Just letting you know. Okay, so I'm going to start playing. See how many of these are there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I was right on my counting. Yes. New background. Okay, everyone. The literature club is starting. Let's all have a seat and take attendance, okay? Ugh. I miss debate club. Who knew it would be so difficult to start a new club? I feel worse with every day that passes without anyone coming in. I'm really starting to lose confidence. So she said that to an empty room. I notice I can't save or load. That's problematic. Monica is the only member of the literature club. In the days that have passed, all of her efforts to recruit new members have been fruitless. So I notice we have a characterless narrator. That's different than the main story. Am I going about this wrong? Monica glances at one of her flyers. The headline is, "Do you like literature?" Maybe no one is into literature enough to pick it over their other club interests. I can't just rely on people liking literature. I need to sell them on a vision. A vision! What kind of vision? Monica rests her head on her desk, deep in thought. But before she realizes it, the recent nights of staying up too late start to catch up to her. It's so quiet, and the noise of the air conditioner is soothing. Hello? That was the wrong voice. Suddenly, a voice causes Monica to snap awake. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I never do this. Hey, is this the napping club? No, this is... Monica pauses, suddenly embarrassed to admit that this is in fact the literature club. This is the literature club. Yay, I thought I got it wrong for a sec. I'm super sorry. I was like it was like so unprofessional of me to do that. Don't apologize, I do that all the time. Oh. Did I miss the club meeting? Where is everybody? Well, about that. This is everybody. Really? Just you? But we're getting more members. I'm working really hard on it. Hold on a sec. If it's just you... that means I get to be vice president. Wait, vice president? What are your qualifications? Well, I'm better at napping than you. Maybe I should be president. Now you're just making fun of me. Oh, I'm sorry. What's your name? Sayori. Okay, Sayori. I've been trying really hard on this club. I know you caught me in a weird time, but it's really disheartening to not be taken seriously, you know? I care so much about this. I just want to find other people who do too. Oh no. I'm so sorry. I do care, I promise. I have a hard time being serious after all. I didn't mean for it to hurt you. And I was joking about the vice president thing too. I would make a terrible vice president. Sorry, that's not what she meant. I mean, I'm sure that Monica tries to say something reassuring, but it's difficult when she still doesn't know much about Sayori. I'm sorry that this isn't like a real club yet. Would you still be interested in joining after I found a few more members at least? Well, no. I want to join now. Really? Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Besides, I can tell how hard you've been working. Snoozing. You're doing something amazing and you should be proud of it, you know? So let me help you turn something stressful into something fun. Still can't save. Can you not save during these? If nothing else, I'm good at that, so... Honestly, how could I possibly say no to that? That's really sweet of you, Sayori. Oh, I'm Monica, by the way. Monica! That's such a cool name. So... Western. So Anglican. Oh, now you're just trying to cheer me up. But you're smiling. Well, I didn't say it didn't work. Monica glances at the flyer on her desk and realizes that her name is already written on it. So what do we do first? Well, it's getting pretty late, isn't it? We can go home and try to come up with some new ideas to recruit club members. I can do that. Cool. And I think I need to put some more thought into my vision for the club. You know, like a mission. My mission is to make everyone happy. Ha ha ha. Oh yeah, I got the Happy Thoughts poem as well. I forgot about that. Anyway. Yeah, something like that. I need to think about it. Hey, do you like hugs? I guess so. Sarah suddenly pulls Monica into a friendly hug, then let's go. Some people can just really use a hug sometimes. Besides, Sayori whispers loudly. Hey, how do you do this? Hug. Hug energy is what keeps me at my best. Hug energy is what keeps me at my best. Hopefully that worked. Hug energy? Monica laughs. Although Sayori is very different from her, Monica feels her spirits lifted. Maybe it's just because she finally found another club member. But... well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow then. It'll be fun. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna think really hard tonight about how to get more people. Yeah, me too. Just advertises a dating sim. A day with some sort of secret horror stuff. Alright. A day passes and the time comes for Literature Club, Monica and Sayori to reconvene. As president, Monica assures that she's the first to arrive to the club room, but she finds herself waiting longer than expected for Sayori. It's been 10 minutes already. Maybe Sayori changed her mind about joining. No, that can't be. She was so excited yesterday. She's just a late person. But I'm getting kind of worried. Suddenly, Sayori comes bounding through the door. In her hand, she's holding a sheet of paper. Sorry I'm late, I'm here. It's okay, welcome back. And Sayori spins over to Monica and deposits the sheet on Monica's desk. What's this? Oh, here we go. Take my hand. Take my hand, take me forever. Take me to your dreamland. Caution me to watch my steps so I can't look back at my footprints. Climb the stairs ahead of me while I look up to you. The more I look forward, the more I look up, the more I can lend to you. If you can trust me to follow your pace, I'll trust you to set it. If you can trust me to lend you a smile, I'll trust you to return it. Take my hand, take me forward. Take me to your dreamland. Great, more poems. Okay, didn't know if this was going to happen, but I'm glad to see it happen. Hey, this is really good. You wrote this, Sayori? Of course. Wait, no, it's the wrong side of the paper. Huh? Like another poem. I wasn't ready to share that yet. I'm so embarrassed. Monica flips over the paper. Written on the other side is a list of ideas for recruiting new club members. Oh, so this is what you meant to show me. But I'm curious now, do you write poetry often? I do, but I'm sure I'm not anywhere near as good as you are. Well, Monica's really bad at it, so... Really? I'm actually terrible at writing poetry. I've never written anything I was happy with. Like, I always read it again a week after I write it, and I'm like, wow, that was really edgy. That's usually me. I do know. It's like the dramatic version of me doesn't agree with the person I want myself to be, or something like that. You should have more confidence in yourself. You're the literature club president. I guess you're not wrong there. I need to, set a good example or whatever. I can envision the club doing something like that. Doing what? Like sharing poems we write, and, stuff like that. Yeah. I would love that. It's a very not creative prequel. It's a good way to learn about other people, It's like you have so many emotions that you can't express to other people, usually. Which you can when it's in a poem, right? This is wrong. Yeah. I think that's helping me form a more cohesive vision for the club. So I'm glad you showed me, well, even though it was by accident. Me too. I felt embarrassed at first, but now it feels kinda good that someone else read it. I'll try to show you more of them in the future. I'd love that. Oh geez, I'm getting distracted. Do you want to go over this recruitment brainstorm together? My brain stormed so hard. It was like a brain hurricane. My brain is a natural disaster. Sayori, that's terrible. Anyway, let's take a look at the list. Make cupcakes. I was hungry. But it's a good idea, isn't it? Let me think about this. I mean, when would we have a chance to give people cupcakes? Like when they come into the club. But you have to get them in first. What if we said we had free cupcakes on the flyers? I'm kinda worried that would bring in the wrong kinds of people, That would bring in the protag. Wrong kinds? People would come just for the cupcakes and then leave. Nobody would do that. That would be mean. But I want to find people who are really into literature. Even if they don't know it yet. Let's see, the next thing on the list. Hunt for people reading books. I kind of see how this works. I don't think I get it. Like going around the school and finding people who are reading books, Like in the morning or during lunch. And we tell them to check out the literature club. Well, the problem with that is wouldn't most people reading books just be doing it for an assignment or something? How would you know if they're just reading for fun? Because the book is the portrait of Markov and it's not on any of the reading lists. Well, we could ask them. But then we'd be bothering people who are trying to do schoolwork. I didn't think about that part, I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. You're coming up with a lot more things than I can. Oh, your next idea is to hand out flyers rather than just put them on the wall. I definitely like to start doing that. That makes you extremely annoying. If you've ever been to a university, there tends to be a place, like a quad or a walk, where clubs and fraternities and various things just push flyers at you relentlessly as you walk through. Don't make that. I'm useful. I never said you weren't. I just need to think, what would we tell people when handing them out? I don't want to be like, join the literature club. Let's figure out how we can better engage people. What if we told them about the club activities and stuff? What club activities? Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be my job to come up with that, right? A vision for the club. Okay, Sayori, pretend you're a normal person for a second. Wait, I didn't mean it like that. Like a random passerby who's getting a flyer. How would you react to the idea of a literature club? I would throw it in the recycle. Probably like, literature is stupid. I'm joining the anime club. What the heck? Sorry, I was just thinking of a friend of mine. Get that friend now! You have a friend? Okay, what if I said that we, like, do a group reading and discuss it together? I would probably nap through that. That's you, Sayori. Yeah, but that doesn't really sound fun to most people anyway. We need to really catch their interest, you know? This sucks. Why is this so hard? Monica, don't be sad. What do you think about literature, Sayori? Me? Well, kind of what I said about the poem earlier. I think it gives you the chance to express yourself. Like, express yourself in ways you can't normally do, when you're just doing your normal day and talking to your friends. I mean, we all have so many thoughts and feelings that we just don't get to share, you know? It's like, intimate. Yeah. How do I get that across to people? It could be like, express your true self. Be intimate with us. Okay, that's kind of, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh. What is it? I forgot all my things in my classroom. I must have gotten too excited and rushed here, silly me. But you were late anyway. Rushed, but you weren't. Ah, never mind. Did you want to get your stuff then? I'll forget if I don't do it now. Well, I'll wait for you then. Okay, I'll only take a second. And she comes back with Natsuki. Sayori dashes out of the room, leaving Monica momentarily alone. Monica says, oh, maybe the friend is not the anime club? I think she's talking about the protagonist, not Natsuki. Because he's the one associated with anime, Natsuki is associated with manga. I like slow on figuring that out. Anyway, Monica sighs and starts jotting her thoughts on a sheet of paper. Express yourself. Be who you want to be. Make new friends. Discover a new you. Discover your heart. No. Write your heart out. No. Write into your heart. Write the way into your heart. Write the way into his heart. Join the literature club. Write the way into your heart. It's starting to compose your reality now. Wow, that's lame. Monica? You startled me. Sorry, but it's something important. On the way to my classroom, there was a girl reading a book. Reading a book? Let's hurry and recruit her. Wait, are you sure she's not just doing homework? I could tell she was really into it. Well, I guess we could take a look. Let's go. Human watching. Monica grabs one of her flyers and stands up from her desk. Then the two depart the classroom, with Sayori leading the way. This way. You don't have to run. Sayori leads Monica over to a particular classroom, then lowers her voice to a whisper. See, in here. Monica peers through the window. Sure enough, there's a girl sitting alone, intently reading a book. I feel like a creep doing this. You should go inside and talk to her. Me? You're the president, and I would probably scare her away. Okay, fine, I'll do it. Monica takes a deep breath and timidly enters the classroom. That was fast. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. Why? What happened? Well, I entered the classroom and she didn't even look up from her book. So I kinda just left the flyer on her desk and then walked out. That's kinda cute. But I'm sure she'll see it and want to join the club. I hope so. Shall we head back now? The two head back to the club room, Sayori feeling rather accomplished and Monica still feeling a bit embarrassed by the encounter. Upon returning, Monica and Sayori resume their strategy meeting. They discuss various kinds of recruitment tactics from professional to silly. After going through Sayori's list, and with Monica coming up with ideas of her own, the two end in a better spot than from where they began. Well, I would say today was pretty productive, wasn't it? This is when the game writer can't think of ideas either, and so he just summarizes it like that. Yeah, I think we're starting to make progress. I can't wait to get some new members. Hey, what's this? Sayori pierced the sheet of paper Monica was jotting on earlier. It's gonna be a poem? Oh, don't mind that. I was just thinking to myself. Join the literature club. Write the way into your heart. I'm starting to get that piano in the background do like a variation on your reality. Subtle. That's so cute! I thought it was a little over dramatic, but Sayori pauses and thinks for a moment. You know, I don't think you give yourself enough credit. Well, what do you mean? Like, I don't know, I feel like I can tell from talking to you today. It seems like you're always afraid of doing something wrong. Yeah, but would you call yourself a perfectionist? Yeah. Yeah, I definitely am. I mean, I always have an idea in my head of how I want things to go. And it's like I can't accept anything less than that. But I think in the end it helps me try my hardest at everything, so I don't think it's that bad. For some reason, being a perfectionist makes you kind of southern. Like with this club, we have such an opportunity to make it into exactly how we envision it. But I feel like we only have one shot at it. So I'm just really afraid of it deviating from that. The vision. What's the vision? It's this game. It's the next game from Salvato. Monica pauses to think, then shakes her... What if it was actually called The Vision? Monica pauses to think, then shakes her head to herself. She sighs. I don't know. I just want everyone to... Monica trails off. Smiling, Sayori taps her finger against the sheet of paper. Write the way into your heart. I think that's what you're trying to do. Is to make the club that you need the most out of anyone. Well, you're the one who knows yourself best, of course, but I'm here to help you. Monica returns Sayori's smile. It's sort of amazing how kind you are. We're really gonna make this the best club ever. Sayori nods and the two remain silent for a moment, lost in thought. The only sound is the steady whisper of the air conditioners. And the only movement is the afternoon sunlight trickling its way in and out of the moving clouds. It's like, if only real human interactions were this picturesque. Sayori breaks the moment with a big yawn. Time to go home? You tell me, you're the president. Ahaha. In that case, today's meeting is officially over. I look forward to tomorrow. Me too. I gotta write that essay. Sayori beams and grabs her things. They haven't started yet, and it's due tomorrow, and it's about 4 pages and requires 3 sources. You can go on ahead, I need a few minutes still. Oh, I can wait. That's alright, I just want some alone time. In that case, what's the monologue to the player? Sayori waves enthusiastically at Monica. Good luck. Monica smiles and waves in return as Sayori spins her way out of the club room. All alone, she sighs to herself and takes a minute to zone out. She wasn't prepared for the self-reflection encouraged by Sayori, but she decides it was something she probably needed right about now. The club that I need the most. I don't get it. I just wanted to start a club with more passion. Something that I could use to help lead people to happiness. Literature is the key to that. No! Because it's the window to the real person inside of us. Underneath the person who's forced to always smile and blend in. The person who's forced to be perfect. Monica suddenly notices a folder on the floor of her desk. Did Sayori leave this behind? I hope it doesn't have her homework in it. Worried, Monica opens the folder to check. Poems. It's a folder of poems. Become the flower. A feeling of joy is a flower plucked from the ground. The color, the scent. It's so pretty in my hair. Every day I pluck some flowers as though they grow just for me, a lifetime of peace and nourishment, yanked away in an instant. All for me, all for joy. I need more. I need more joy. I need more happy. Pluck, 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 every day. Pluck, 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 so pretty in my hair. Pluck, pluck, pluck. You're going to die. And you too. Beneath my feet, a flower stands alone. It beckons to me. I twist the stem, freeing it from its clinging roots, caressing the final joyous moment between my fingers. But to what ends? I look in every direction, and the field I stand in, the prosperous field, is a barren wasteland. The fruits of my labor, the carnage of my joy. And that is why I've decided I must become the flower. What? Wait. Sayori? And is that it? Let me check. Oh, that's only half an hour. Okay, let's keep going. Another day passes in a flash, and it's already time for the next club meeting. Although Monica should have come up with a plan for today's club tasks, she hasn't been able to share her guilt and anxiety after reading Sayori's poem. I'm so stupid. How did I let myself be the center of attention? Sayori is going through these kinds of feelings, and I'm letting her comfort me instead of the other way around. What kind of club president does that? This whole time I didn't think to ask about her own feelings. So much for the stupid vision. Sayori enters the clubroom with her usual smile, but upon seeing the downcast Monica, her smile quickly fades into an expression of concern. Monica? Is everything okay? I'm really sorry. I'm such a terrible friend. Huh? What are you talking about? You're an amazing friend. Monica shakes her head. I made this all about myself. Even you said so yesterday. I internalized this poem way too much. You told me that I'm trying to make the club that I need the most, right? But my problems are so trivial compared to yours. Sarah responds quietly. What are you talking about? But as she says that, her face darkens. Through the silence, Sayori mutters her realization. I left my folder here. Monica stares blankly ahead, unable to come up with a response. I wasn't ready to share those. Now you're worrying about me, I don't want that. But why? We're friends, right? Wordlessly, Sayori nods. We just met yesterday. Friends look out for each other. I want to be here for you as much as you're here for me. Another long moment passes in silence. The air is incredibly heavy. So I guess, is her depression canon now? This is different. It wasn't just about you yesterday. It was about the club. Besides, things were so happy yesterday. You don't need to do this all of a sudden. I don't want it. I like happy. So, if you do this, then you're just being selfish. Monica massages her forehead, struggling through the frustration of such a paradox. It's understandable that Sayori isn't ready to share certain things, but as unfair as it is for Monica to pry, it's also painful for Monica to force herself to ignore the needs of her friend. I'm sorry I looked. I disrespected your privacy. No, I don't blame you for looking. You would have at least needed to check if it was mine. Yeah. Monica takes a deep breath. You only read one of the poems. Okay, I understand that you don't want me to worry, and I think I'll be able to put this aside so that we can move on. But you can you promise me something? Promise you what? Monica pauses to collect her thoughts, that you do not kill yourself. This is the literature club. It's a place where people can express themselves in the ways that life normally doesn't allow them to. That's the vision. In fact, it's our vision. Write the way into your heart, or whatever. So I just want you to promise me that you'll remember that too. It doesn't have to be right now, but I want you to be here. I want to be here for you when you need it. I want us to be ourselves. Like that. Sayori smiles gently. I'll promise if you promise. Unable to help it, Monica returns Sayori's smile. I promise. Me too. As the conversation closes, the mood in the room is lifted. With that behind them, it's time to proceed with the club activities. Imagine actually talking with somebody and the conversation went like that. So, want to teach me about poetry? Huh? But what about recruitment? It's fine, we have plenty of time for that. But right now, I feel like I want to do this. I mean, I do have to fulfill my end of the promise, you know? There's no way I could say no to that. Just don't expect much. I do a lot of writing, but it's not like I am a scholar or anything. That's fine. I think I just need, like, some motivation. I never knew where to start when it comes to writing poems. Starting isn't so hard. You kind of just need to write down your feelings and see where it takes you. Yeah, but that wouldn't come out any good. It's not supposed to. You're gonna have to fight your perfectionist mood on this one. You can just start by writing your feelings and see what kinds of things it makes you think of. And then you can turn your feelings into a little story. You can get your feelings down first and then make it sound pretty later. It's not like building a railroad where you go from one end to the other. It's more like a collage where you find all the things you want to put in and then you arrange them in a pretty way. At least that's how I do it. It's not like it's the only way, but it's a really good way to not get stuck right at the beginning. I understand. Yeah, I always get so caught up in how it sounds that I forget about what's actually important. Monica pulls out a pen and paper to start writing on. Stop being a perfectionist, you idiot. I'm just kidding. Monica scribbles out, you idiot, after she writes it down. No, keep it. What, why? Are you calling me an idiot? Of course not. But the point is that you're not supposed to police your feelings, right? Be as dramatic as you want. But I was just... Well, yeah. Underneath the scribble, Monica writes, you idiot. She stares at the paper. Her words stare back at her. It's kind of funny how I wrote down what I'm mad at myself for, and then I did that exact thing anyway. This is really going to take some getting used to. I believe in you. Thanks. I do too. Me, I mean. But also you, of course. Monica continues the exercise, jotting down her thoughts. It's surprisingly quite a struggle to write without overthinking it. But after a while, with Sayori's guidance and encouragement, Monica's sheet of paper begins to look fairly lively, peppered with all of her random thoughts. Phew. Monica looks up and down at her sheet. Gosh, I feel so tense looking at this. I hate it. But it's also kind of liberating. I can tell how hard you're trying. It makes me happy. I think you'll be good at writing poems. Don't give me too much credit. I'd have to try really, really hard at it. But I think it's something that I'll enjoy doing. With you. Sayori beams. I'll stop here, but we still have time. Let's try to work on a new flyer for the club. I won't be so picky about the language. Yay, let's do it. Monica and Sayori proceed with their work. With each passing day, the two of them become more confident in the club. Not simply from their recruitment planning, but from their vision as well. And their bond strengthens, as their bond strengthens, so does the essence of the literature club. Finally, they begin to truly feel like only a matter of time before they find more members. Only for it all to be torn down in the end. Another day passes. As usual, Monica is the first one to the club room. With her is a printout of the revised Literature Club flyer, complete with all the new ideas Monica and Sayori came up with. If only this was the flyer we gave to that one reading girl the other day. It's so much more attractive than the old one. But the new catchphrase is featured clearly in the center of the flyer. Write the way into your heart. Surely common sense would say that one writes from the heart, not into the heart. But the message being delivered is that one can use writing to discover themselves. Hopefully Monica and Sayori had thought that it would be enough to garner some curiosity from students. Why do I feel so tense looking at this? Monica thinks back to the previous meeting when she performed the writing exercise. Was I always this bad at expressing myself? How am I supposed to be president if I can't even demonstrate what the club is supposed to be about? The literature club is truly beginning to take form. But with that, the weight on Monica's shoulders only becomes heavier. Debate club was always about rigid structure, formulating airtight points and counterpoints, and delivering them with conviction. It's about the person on the outside. That's why Monica was so good at it. It existed entirely within her realm of comfort. It's suffocating. I need to break through this mental wall. This wall, there's a hole in it. And on the other side, I am looking in, right? So the player looks in from the other side of her mental wall. Maybe this is where it's going from this, I don't know. I need to learn to express myself for real. Monica pulls out a sheet of paper and grabs her pen. She presses the tip of the pen firmly against the paper, and it makes a dark puddle. But her hand doesn't move. Instead, a tiny blot of ink collects around the tip of her pen. Monica lifts her pen and stares at the little blotch. For some reason, she feels compelled to run her finger across it. And it smears. And she does so, the black ink smears across the paper, ruining Monica's canvas. Ugh. Out of spite for herself, Monica presses her pen down once again, letting the ink collect. She creates a second smear on the paper. Come on, Monica. Just move your hand. Monica writes, "This is what I get for seeking perfection. A stain." Monica slides the paper away from her and puts her head down on the desk. The air conditioner seems louder today. I'm here. Hi. Monica hears Sayori approach her desk, then stops for a second, probably reading a piece of paper. Then she sits down on the adjacent desk. Bad day? Me too. You too? The new flyer looks so good. You've been working so hard. On the club, but also something else, I think. I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's so hard to just be vulnerable. Sayori takes a sheet of paper from Monica's desk. All you gotta do is select the right set of words. She writes something down and stares at it for a while. Can I trust you? Of course. You can trust me with anything. Sayori gazes at Monica with sadness in her eyes. Understanding the signal, Monica takes the paper from Sayori's desk and reads it. Sometimes I want to die. Sayori? This is really, really hard for me. Her voice shakes. So if I can do it, then you can too. Because you're like 1,000,000 times better than me. That's completely not true. Sayori takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. That's something about me that I've never told anyone before. Even now my head is like screaming at me to stop. Wait, you don't have to force yourself. I mean, just because of the promise yesterday, I want to. It just feels right. I mean, maybe it's part of the reason I came to this club in the first place. This is the Literature Club. I trust you more than I'm scared. At those words, Monica stands up. Sayori must have taken days to work up the courage for this. Were Monica's own futile but genuine efforts actually the push that Sayori needed? Sayori's deliberate breaths can be heard over the air conditioner. As she prepares herself to continue, Monica waits in gentle silence. I have this problem, where I get really upset when people worry too much about me. I can't control it. It's like, why waste your energy worrying about me, when you can just be happy instead? So I never tell anyone about these kinds of thoughts that I have. It's so much easier to just smile and help everyone else be happy. But that's terrible. That's what Monica wants to say, but she stops herself in fear of saying the wrong thing. It's just that if everyone knew about it, they wouldn't treat me the same anymore. Like whenever I'm not smiling, everyone would worry about me and ask me what's wrong. I know that, because it used to be like that. Sayori paused, seeming to recall something in the past. I just want everyone to be happy. Well, that's going to be another story later. That's the most important thing to me. And letting people look inside my head doesn't bring happiness to anyone. Sayori pauses again, her solemn expression making her look almost like an entirely different person. How'd you find the courage to tell me this? You're not worried that I'll be one of those people too? I am worried. Part of me really hates myself for doing this, but another part of me I think just felt like it would be different this time. Whenever we talk about what the club is supposed to mean, I kept feeling like it was right for me to do. Especially after you've been trying hard to express yourself too. It's just made me feel like I could say it in confidence, and our friendship doesn't have to change. It's so silly. The club is only 2 people, but it already means this much to me. Monica feels a tightening sensation in her heart. A feeling of connection as Sayori's emotions radiate between them. Me too. I was so lost until you showed up. You're so brave, Sayori. You're so strong and brave, I don't even compare. Monica steps forward, but if nothing else, I can at least offer you some hug energy, if you'd like. You are an asset. Wordlessly and without a smile, Sayori rests her forehead on Monica's shoulders. Though, through their contact, Monica can almost feel the torrent of thoughts swimming in Sayori's head. And at this moment, enchanted by the air of the club, Monica realizes that of all the days that have passed, this is the one where she really hopes that nobody new walks through the door. She speaks softly. You're like the sweetest girl I've ever met. You can say anything, I'll never judge you. I promise. Sayori's breath begins to quiver. And then, only later on, we get to the... I don't get debate over this is canon or not. When we get to the real game, Monica just straight up kills Sayori. It's like the betrayal. She takes several deep breaths, trying as hard as she can to start speaking, to say the things she never once dared to say out loud. Finally, she speaks in a choked voice. I'm so worthless. I'm worthless and everyone would be better off without me. She suppressed a sob as a tear falls down from her cheek. I'm just an inconvenience to everyone. I'm not good at anything, and it just feels like everyone just has to put up with me, and I hate it. The more Sayori speaks, the more she fails to control her voice, falling victim to the overwhelming sadness clutching at her throat and chest. I don't want to have these thoughts. I want them to go away, and now I'm making you put up with me, and I don't want to die. I just want to die. As soon as Sayori loses her composure, Monica becomes determined to keep her own. She only wants to be what Sayori needs right now. But she won't let any sadness show. Her voice comes through as soft and gentle. This isn't putting up with you, it's just being your friend. Monica offers a few words of comfort, but she knows Sayori said it herself, that the thoughts Sayori experiences are ones that don't belong. And Monica can't magically make them go away. The most she can do is help Sayori battle them like any good friend would do. You have so much value, to me and your other friends too. This club wouldn't have been the same without you. I really mean that. You coming here was the best thing that could have happened. Even if we never got any other members, I would still be happy. That's what you brought here. You brought us a vision, and you also brought happiness. And that's your favorite thing to do, right? Sayori doesn't respond, but Monica feels her gently nod. No more words are needed between them. And there we go. Okay, the two share their embrace for a while longer, Monica letting Sayori take as much time as she needs. Once her breathing steadies and her sniffles fully cease, Sayori lifts her head and wipes her eyes. I guess I needed that. Some days are harder than others. Well, I'm here whenever you need me. not. But any other time, I'll make sure that things are the way they usually are. If that's what makes you happy. Thanks. You're the best. No, you are. The two exchange smiles. You know, I'm sorry to bring this up all of a sudden, but have you considered talking to a professional? Sayori nods. It's scary, since it's already so hard to tell people. Yeah. Well, of course, it will always be your choice, but if you're ever looking to find the courage for it, I can do my best to help you. Thanks. I think it helps knowing that you would. Sayori suddenly yawns and stretches. Well, that made me tired. And hungry. Well, I won't make you do any work today if you're not up for it. No, I want to. I mean, I can say that it's definitely one thing that makes me happy. Monica smiles. But I might want to get a snack first. All of a sudden, the sound of the door caused the two of them to turn their heads. The door opens halfway, then stops. A face peeks inside. A face that seems familiar. This is gonna cut off. It's gonna, like, tease Yuri showing up and just gonna fade to black. I knew it! uh... Okay, let's look at the mail. So we got to have a nice weekend. But it's kind of a double entendre, have a nice weekend. I think I read this in the my part 0. So I'm not going to read it again. We got side stories from Ray Vorte. Thank you to everyone who worked so hard on the control simulation. I can't imagine how tedious it must have been to so delicately hide Monica's elevated permissions from her without disrupting our connections to the VM. And then when you first start the game, you actually see Monica's elevated permissions. This little command line thing, and it scrolls and you can see it. Just to clarify, all of the recordings labeled side stories are part of the control simulation, right? I'm noticing some details on the characters' lives here and there that differ a little bit from those in VM1, even trivial ones. Is it part of the butterfly effect from some of Monica's more fundamental changes, or is it a result of her just messing around with the other characters in VM1 as her own experiment, or for fun? So if I'm keeping track, we have that, like 5 different universes in total? With 3 or 4 of them created and then destroyed by Monica, of course. It's funny because I keep wanting to speculate on which one is the real universe, but in reality they are all as real as ours is anyway. So, the Matrix? Ray Vort, System Administrator. Ray Vort, from Ray Vort to Untitled Mail Group, do not use. Sunday, December 8th, 2019, Side Stories. So, Side Stories is what happens if you don't elevate Monica's permissions. Okay, I guess that's the point. So, is this like the regular Monica? Lib Musi, character discrepancy. Having run the control simulation for a while, it's evident that a certain character is missing from any mention or appearance. This makes me speculate that Monica's meddling is less clumsy than we think, because she would have had to manufacture this character herself as a way of forcing interaction between her and the user. Right. Could it be why the character has such limited and dissonant personality traits? Or am I reading too much into this? I'll open an issue to start tracking info and observations on the anomaly of this character appearing. Leave Musi, engineer. So because the character is created by Monica, that's why he's such a jerk? Is that what they're trying to say here? Cool. I think it's kind of a jerk to be sort of a parody of Japanese visual novels, but multiple different reasons. I'm doing that just to kind of be meta. Okay. So there's the mail. We got music for that, I presume. Hug energy. Okay. And let's look at the pictures again. I mean, I can't really tell what would be new exactly. We're missing a couple poems. Um, with five more side stories and only two more poems. So these can't be like that side story we just did, where it's like there's new poems in it. Wait, if we just can't, was this just new just now because we got all of Sayori's poems? Because we got Sayori's poems from the side stories. Okay, I'll let you read that, like by pausing the video. Okay, Yuri's poem. At the bottom here it says, "And I should instead invite you in." It's kind of hard to read because it's dark. Okay. And that's the letter from Dan Salvato. People who enjoy dating sims may have a heightened empathy for fictional characters, or they might be experiencing feelings that life has not been kind enough to offer them. If they're enjoying themselves, that's all that matters. Okay. And that new asset, there is more than one new asset per side story, it appears, because there's seven more asset slots, but only five more side stories. But that side story only had one asset in it. The new background has not shown up yet, although we saw it in the intro. No infinite loops yet. Okay. Well, that ends that, I guess. I don't really have any. That was just a little bit like. Don't really have any reactions to those kind of things. Um, they're not particular. They're not really particularly up my alley. I don't really have anything else to say about it. So I don't know. I'll just post this and move on. If you watched that, thanks for watching that. Sorry for being like not very transformative about that. That was just not really my thing, right? But it could have been, so it's worth a try.